Gang, what is good? Welcome back, man. It's been a while. We've seen a little bit of movement in the charts with dearly beloved Bitcoin. A lot of people are starting to lose their minds. Now we're seeing the lower projections coming into play. We're seeing the capo was right coming into play. 12K Bitcoin. Like, man, it's a little bit far away when you think about it, but we really are going to be understanding what's going on across the board. Come on, man. Bitcoin has not stopped moving up. At the first whim of Bitcoin pulling back, everyone loses their minds. Well, in this channel, we have a little bit of an understanding about Bitcoin's flavor, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So, I hope you've all had a wonderful Easter holiday break. Being Greek, my Easter is in a couple of weeks' time, I think. Yeah, that's where we got to do all the fasting and all of the stuff to commemorate our boy Jesus, you know? But what we're going to talk about today? Well, there's something really important that not many people are talking about, and this is the influence of the Japanese yen. So, this is where we are. We had the manufacturing data yesterday that ticked up, which shows that the US has, expanded. Surprisingly, the economy is doing all right. The manufacturing sector's seen some activity. You know, people want business. Cool. On the back of that, dollar shoots up, Bitcoin drops down. Now, we've got JOLTS job openings coming out very shortly, 3 p.m. UK time, just shy of an hour's time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. Now, why is Bitcoin doing all of this? Well, because we know Bitcoin has now got the influence of Wall Street. That means when Wall Street reacts to data, that's good for the dollar. The logic is dollar goes up, Bitcoin goes down. But this event that is due to happen soon with the Bank of Japan, once those bad boys step in and intervene and start pumping money into the Japanese economy, that only means the yen's going to go up, the dollar's going to go down, and assets against the US dollar should be moving up. That means what? That includes Bitcoin. So we're going to dive into that article very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Just thought, what is going on? Tino, where are the Moon Boys? Well, the Moon Boys... You see, we can all be Moon Boys if we really want to. Right? But we understand something about the relationship between the bids and the asks. Right now, they're buying Bitcoin. They're not selling it. Weak hands are selling Bitcoin. The guys that have got the small amounts of Bitcoin that are losing their mind, they've got 500% in gains and they're just simply losing their heads, and they're now selling, and they're probably trying to run shorts on leverage trading as well. Looking at the S&P and the Nasdaq, I can see we got some flavor down at the lows of the profile, which we'll be looking at very, very shortly. And I'm expecting reversals across the board, ladies and gentlemen. The JOLTS job openings will actually dictate that. So that's going to be something we need to be paying attention to. Of course, I won't be here for that, so I'll be lining your charts up with what to be mindful of. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, my glasses are polished. Sam's done a good old job right there. Sam is my butler, ladies and gentlemen, just so you don't know. He's also my brother-in-law, but, you know. But anyways, with that being said, it's good to be back. I'm ready for some flavor today. So let's get the party started, man. Here we go. All right, then. So we start off with this bad boy right here. Bitcoin drops over 5% and has upbeat US factory data powers dollar index to nearly a 5-month high. Now, what we really don't want to see is we don't want to see, well, we kind of do and we don't, okay? If we get more readings or more data that comes out this week that suggests that the US economy is doing okay, then that sits in line with the problem that we've got over here. Bond stocks drop as Fed's seen delaying rate cuts. Now, the market wants the Fed to cut the interest rates, and that would only lead us naturally to a Fed pivot. That means there's a change in fiscal policy. That means money in principle should be easily more accessible. But they're now even talking about that we're not going to get these 3 rate cuts. Why? Because if data keeps on coming out and it shows that the US economy is doing okay, then interest rates aren't harming the economy. That means people are still putting money to work. More people in work, whether they have got 2 jobs or not, they're still generating money. There's still a demand. Companies still want people to work for them because they've got the workload coming in. So they need to service that with either labor power or... what else we got? Like contractors as well. There's lots of activity happening. Now, this week, we do have a lot of data coming out, and good old Powell will be speaking. He's going to be speaking. I don't know if he's going to be speaking anything about the monetary policy. Here we go. Yeah, he's due to speak at Stanford Business, Government and Society Forum. So I wouldn't say that he's going to be speaking anything significantly about the economy. It's just going to be the idea of, Mr. Powell, back in the day when the employment rate was X, Y, and Z, like, how does that correlate to where we are today? And you just be like, well, back then, that's what it was, and right now, it's where we are. That's exactly what Powell says. He's just going to be running with the data non-stop. So I wouldn't expect much from this meeting per se. Now, with that being said, going into what we've got over here, we've got the ADP non-farm employment change coming out, and then, of course, the ISM. Now, if the ISM comes in favorable, which is what they're projecting for it to be anyway, then it's going to be very interesting, because the non-farm payrolls will be the nail in the coffin, and they're expecting the unemployment market to actually increase. Again, they have not been right with the unemployment data. It's down at its lowest point in 50 years. That's awesome. But each fractional change, whether it's from 3.9% down to 3.7% or down to 3.6%, that will be a problem for them. Okay, because less people are unemployed. That's good news, but it's not when we're looking at something like this. Traders right now are betting that the Federal Reserve will not cut as aggressively as they want them to. Okay, and that's why we're starting to see the strength in the dollar coming in. That's why the 10-year yield is now encouraging foreign investors. Now, listen, this marks up with what's going to happen later. Okay, think about it from this perspective. Right here, Japan intervention would target 5 yen rally, strategists say. Well, to break it all down, this is what happens when the Bank of Japan steps in and starts to add liquidity to the economy. So if we look over here, it says from 145.90 to $140 yen, they pumped 2.84 trillion into the economy, okay? That caused dollar to go down. At the top side at 151 to 146, that led to 5.62 trillion to get into the economy. Dollar yen goes down, the yen goes up, dollar across the board goes down, assets against the dollar go up. We've got the next one from 149 to 145, where they put only 729 billion, didn't really see that much of a move. Now, the next intervention, because we're coming back up into these highs right here. Remember, it doesn't serve the Japanese to have a strong yen. It hurts the trade, okay, because they're doing trade overseas. They need it to be as weak as possible. Now, if we go over to the yen itself and we look at this, S&P, you absolute mad thing. We go to the yen, go to the 1 hour time frame. This is where we are with the Japanese yen. Like, we are heading into very significant areas. And if you marry up the Japanese yen with the dollar dominance, so if we add that to a new price chart, you can see there's the correlation right there. The dollar's down, the yen is up. The yen is down, the dollar is up. So right now we've got this sort of inversion, sharp one at that. The yen is trailing lower, but it's holding only because of the intervention. And the dollar is trading at significant highs for this year, okay? So the logic is that once the intervention comes into play, there will be a short-term period of dollar strength dropping, the yen moving up, Bitcoin should be moving up, gold will continue to move up, euro will move up. Any pair against the US dollar will effectively move up. Why? Because the Japanese yen makes up 17% of the transactions in the dollar index. All right? So you've got the euro that makes up 56% of it. You've got the yen at 17%, you've got the pound at 9%, and then we start going into the Swiss crowns and all of that, and the Canadian dollar. Those are the smaller percentiles. But you really want to focus on the yen, the euro, and the dollar relationship, all right? And the fact that the Japanese want to step in and start pumping their economy with liquidity, that means in the future we're more than likely going to see yen go up, dollar to come down, which will give us an opportunity to load up on assets against the US dollar at the pending strength of the dollar dropping down. All right? Right now, because the rate cuts are looking pretty slim, everyone now sees that the 10-year yield is somewhat lucrative. Who's everyone? Foreign investors. They now can pick up dollars and generate a better return on it. This is where we are right now, which does explain why Bitcoin, in principle, could be going down. Because remember, we've got Wall Street. Wall Street are planting themselves into cryptocurrency, but Wall Street will behave like the way Wall Street always will behave. Okay? If it's not good news, they will sell. If it's great news, they will buy. Okay? And that's the game that we're playing right now. Okay? So looking at BTC, let's just go over to the higher time frames for a split second to put things into perspective. Oh, my days. Oh, my days. Okay. Very, very sharp drop to the downside. Some of you might be looking at this thinking, Tino, what if there is an FTD coming into play? What if? Well, look, this is on the daily time frame, and we're already going into a new monthly candle, which in principle, look, man, if they recover vectors, if they recover vectors close by like this and like this, you're more than likely going to anticipate them to try and recover something like this. But it's not about it completely being recovered, all right? The idea is that there could be a possibility that Bitcoin could actually break down lower. There is that possibility. Now, this is the monthly time frame. Bitcoin can go up, it can come down, it can stabilize, and then in 3 months' time, it can come back down to this point, all right? It all depends on how aggressive they want to start bidding Bitcoin at these points. All right, so going into the daily time frame to make sense of that, if Bitcoin, in my frank opinion, and I've said this to you all, if Bitcoin does invalidate the 60,800 region, then we've got a bit of a problem with Bitcoin as it will be going down and start attacking some of these points right here in the chart, which does currently sit at the 58.9 zone. Potentially that area right there. What you done there, Tino, man? For God's sake, man. This thing never bloody works for me. There we go. See, this is a real point of interest, but this whole area here is consistent with DCA, in my opinion. If you've got the logic of the 420 method where you are distributing 20%, or should I say splitting your capital into 3 percentiles, that is 20, 20, 20. So 60% of it is going into working capital to load up on Bitcoin at specific points. You are at that point right now. If you hypothetically had $10,000, right? You got 10K. You split that up in percentages. So you got 20%, 20%, and another 20%. 40% leaves you with the bigger capital amount. Use this 320s, these 320 percentiles to DCA. So last week, we had the 20% inside of this zone. We saw a bit of success on that. If you kept onto it, no worries, because you would be in a bit of a drawdown. But it's consistent with what you're doing in the DCA principle, okay? Now, if Bitcoin were to surpass down towards this 60,000 mark, then this area right here would be another 20% zone that you could load up on, all right? But just be careful with this area. Because if Bitcoin does come back down towards the 60K mark, it could be an opportunity to plant 40% of the capital into that area right there. Why? Because it will be consistent with reversals, but it will be a short-term reversal. All right, they could actually bring price all the way back up and maybe recover some of the previous moves to the downside, and then they could continue to go back down again. Just make sure that if you do decide to use this 40% zone, make sure that you're taking profit, because the point of this 40% of the capital is it's not designed to be exposed for too much time in the marketplace. Very important. These 320%, so that's 2 grand, 2 grand, 2 grand. They can stay in the chart for as long as you want. Okay, but the 40% is designed to only be in the chart for a short period of time, whether that is 3 hours, 2 days, 1 week. Do not leave 40% of your capital, okay, loaded up at risk, because it could go against you. And if you've already put all of your 20% into your position or into Bitcoin, and you've only got the 40% left and you plant it all in, you're limited then. What if something bad happens and it just continues to go down? Well, your 40% now is bleeding, okay? So just remember, keep that in mind when you're utilizing this 420 method, all right? What else have we got going off here? 420 method, Tina. Now, listen, we call it the 420 method. It's actually the 2020-2040 method, all right? We just coined it 420 method, and you guys with the 420 flavor, I hear you. But that's not what it's about, bro. Maybe if we were like a happy stream. One of them ones. Anyways, going into smaller time frames, ladies and gentlemen, let's just have a look at where we are with the book of the map. Where's that flavor coming in? Here we go. So we've got, right now at the top, you can see that we've got quite a few bids coming in at 40%, switching with the offers, paying attention to the S&P and the NASDAQ. They're waiting for the news. That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the news. Because usually when the dollar goes up and the stock market goes up, it's favorable because you've now got a stronger dollar and assets that you bought in the stock market, there's value to them. But when you've got a dollar dropping down and you're buying stocks, it's no value there. You're holding pointless stock. And these are the cycles that happen in the marketplace, which is why the Japanese yen, when these guys intervene, that's when we're going to see a very interesting short-term shift, because the yen can only be strong for a certain period of time till it starts hurting the trend. All right. That means that once the money goes into the Japanese markets and effectively starts putting pressure on dollar to come down, that is where investors who have been locking in gains on the yields of a back of a strong dollar will be taking their profit, loading it up into the yen. The yen will then see the benefit of that. They will then see benefit on the back of a yen yield, and then they will reset and take their money out, and thus bringing the yen back down again, which in turn would then increase the dollar to go back up. So it's all going to be swings and roundabouts when it comes to the dollar. And this is why the Japanese yen intervention is very important for what we're going into in the coming future. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that flavor, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Bitcoin is at the 800 EMA on the 1 hour time frame, and we're starting to see a bit of choppy behavior going into the offers and the bids. What have we got? Zoom out. What do you see, ladies and gentlemen? And where are our heads at? Right now, we are heading into a very significant area of interest. Just split the chart across like that, okay? Look at these green areas. For anybody new passing through to the live stream, you know what the routine is. Like, subscribe, and hit the ding-a-ling. Those of you that don't know the ding-a-ling, that's, of course, the bell, so you don't miss out on the flavor that we bring twice a day. Of course, just make sure you subscribe, man. It's free to do. Just do it. It doesn't cost you anything. But I hope there's value in what I'm presenting to you, and you've got an understanding that when you leave this live, you'll know that one big event that's happening with the Japanese yen could impact the difference between Bitcoin continuing to go down or getting ready to make a reversal, okay? Now, is this reversal going to be the reversal of Bitcoin to go all the way to 100K? No, not at all, all right? There's still a little bit more to be had. Why? Because these two areas here are consistent with lots of bids coming into play. This is where people are buying up Bitcoin pretty aggressively, all right? And we just need to be monitoring how price behaves, because there is the potential for Bitcoin to go down and sweep this point. Now, what I like to look for when I'm witnessing price going down, especially in terms of the bids and the offers, here's an example. This is the S&P right now. I'm getting myself ready to run longs on the S&P, okay? If you notice, last week, when I was able to catch the low on the S&P was because the offers, platinum members, you'll understand this. The offers right here, look at the dominance of the offers. You see there's 1,500 offers in the book, okay? Look at the bids down below, 74, 98, 73. For an even distribution in the marketplace, you want to see an even number of bids and offers. Right now, there's dominance on the offers. That means there are guys who are prepared to sell at some instance, which will logically bring price back up. And this is what I'm looking for. Now, the news announcements comes out at 3 o'clock, so I ain't going to be taking no trades before that, because they can just shoot up, come back down, eat some more bids to the downside before they do try and make a reversal. But you can see that, look, they are planting. Every time they plant a bid, there could be limit orders coming in. Look, it's going up to 1,800 right now. This last time went up to around 3,000 offers before it made a very sharp reversal back up. And this is what I'm looking for right now. Because I haven't got an even distribution of bids, it tells me that there's dominance on the offers. At some point, they're going to want to attack this liquidity to offset the orders of bids where they've been buying. Passive buyers have been getting filled. They are naturally going to want to get a return on investment. And that's where we're seeing the offers coming into play. So right now, everyone's going short on the S&P and NASDAQ. Oh my God, it's going down, it's going down. They're going to pull a dirty new move very soon. And I'm waiting for the news before it actually does decide to do that. So those of you trading depth of market, this is one of those principles. The more they keep the offers like this, the more aggressively I'm thinking that they are wanting to get filled later on. So I'm waiting for that, and my days, look at this range, a beautiful range. S&P can shoot all the way up to 5,296. That is something it can easily do. And look at the profile. Barely any volume right here, which tells me that if they are going to make a reversal back up, they're not really going to see that much of a resistance until they get towards the point of control, which is at 5,289. All right. So this is where you prepare yourself for a move. Look, the bids are coming in now, 353, but it's still offered out at 1,500 on the offer side. So just pay attention to the S&P, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Just keep an eye out on that bad boy. Now, if the S&P is going down so aggressively, what's the story with Bitcoin? Well, look, we are right now going into the start of the New York session. Well, the New York session starts in 10 minutes time. And this is where Bitcoin could be getting prepared for potentially a reversal. Now, what you've got to be careful of, guys, is the S&P, if the S&P does start to make a reversal back to the upside, the issue is Bitcoin's a little bit slow. That's my problem with Bitcoin from a day trading perspective. It's a little bit slow. It moves up, it comes down, it moves up, comes down. It's a pain in the ass. But Bitcoin right now is currently ranged away from the range daily low. So this line right here tells you that over the average of the last 14 days, Bitcoin is at its lowest point, which is consistent with potential reversals. But we've gone beyond that right now. So now we need to look at it from a different perspective. We need to look at where we are in terms of the actual volume profile. So here is Bitcoin on the 5-day volume profile, okay? This is going to help you understand and add weight to why price will reverse from the zones that it reverses from, okay? You can look at this and be like, hold on. Why did Bitcoin reverse from here? Why did it reverse from here? Why did it reverse from this point? Why did it reverse from this point? Why is it moving? Well, why did it pull back from that range? What's the story with it? I'm going to give you an example of that right now. So right now, Bitcoin is currently trading at the value area low. So right now, you can see there's people down here that are committing to buying Bitcoin. Look at the bids. 290, 300. We got 220 down there. We got 369. Hypothetically, that could tell us that Bitcoin does have the capacity to flush lower down to 64,500. That could be on the cards. Just because that order right there at 369 is present in the chart doesn't mean it has to get filled. It just means that there's a player down there that's prepared to buy a lot of Bitcoin. So I could assume that could be an area of support. So hypothetically, if I'm going to run longs from this area, where would my stop be? Well, 65,000 all the way down to 65,500. Would that be a nice area for Bitcoin to make a stop to? Yeah, because you don't want to be putting, in my opinion, you want to give Bitcoin a lot of flexibility. You've got to at least factor in a $2,000, $3,000 move on Bitcoin to really give it a chance to really find its feet. Because $500, I mean, if you're scalping, different story. But for $500 leniency as a swing trade, sorry, man, you're going to get shaken out. It's not good enough, okay? So right now, we are in that value area low, which is consistent with reversals, all right? Because right now, there's people down here that are selling. But really, what's going on is people are buying. So you've got the guys. Remember when I've told you to split your charts up and say, right, what's going on in the middle? Go to a nightclub, you've gone to a rave, and you're like, right, so where are the girls at? Where they at? You see most of the women are on the middle, on the dance floor with all the other dudes. All right, cool. So that's where the average amount is. You go to the left of the nightclub, you see these top-class birds, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm feeling the flavor over there. That will be value area high. Those girls are expensive. You go over to the value area lows when you see the girls who are really out for a good time, but they got more facial hair than whatever. Then you go to the value area low, and then you're like, these girls, I can get them by, I can treat them to a glass of orange juice. Happy days. Those are your value area lows. I'm not being discriminating at all. I'm just trying to get you to understand the differences between value area low and value area high, where someone is prepared to pay less for or buy less for against someone who's prepared to pay high for and against someone who's prepared to sell high for. So right now, look what they just did. They come down to that 64.8. So right now, all the women on the right side over here in the value area low, there's lots of transactions happening there. But they're only going to be there for a certain period of time before the guys are like, you know what, let's get back into the middle of the dance floor. I'm done with these birds. I just want to get with these guys in the middle where there's more activity. I might go over to the guys on the left, with the girls on the left, because, they're a little bit more my street, upper class kind of story. They look beautiful, all of that jazz. That's the difference between value area low and value area high. Value area low is where someone is selling at the lowest price possible against someone who is buying at the cheapest point. They're going to spend time in this area. And it's the time they spend in these areas where they don't really allow price to continue is where you then start to navigate the idea that this could be an area where they reverse from. So over the sum of 5 days, this area here is where price in principle should be making a reversal from. So what they're doing is they're just trying to grab as many people as they can from the value area lows and say, all right, are we done here? Are we happy to pay this bit? What's going on here? Here we go. Hey, Tina, can we have a poll on how many... Here we go. Timmy, can we have a poll on how many are in here that are DCA spot traders versus futures traders? That 20-20-20-40 would not work for the leverage trades, right? No, the 20-20-40 does work for leverage trades, but you've got to treat it with low leverage. If you're using high leverage, you're going to get smacked, bro. You are going to get smacked. But I will run that poll right now. I will run that poll. Here we go. So, are you... Here we are. Are you spot traders or futures? Futures lev. All right. Where's the chat at right now? All right, then. Here we go. Look, man, listen, I'm trying to give you guys an analogy that's going to help you understand it, because the next time you come to the value area low, you are going to be thinking about the girl who's got more facial hair than you sitting there with a glass of orange juice. How much would you pay for that? That's the logic of the value area low. It's the lowest area, the value. Who's doing what in that point? To help you get an idea. Like right now, there's people that are in principle selling, but we know there's buyers in this area. How long are these people going to be selling into these people for? All right. That's effectively what we're looking at. The reversal from these points. Now, granted, we've just profiled the whole range and you can see we've got 363, 325 coming in on the bids. So it looks like the whole number principle and the half number principle of Bitcoin around 64,506 and 64,556. We've got interest, 600 bids on Bitcoin in that zone. Okay. So if they can sustain price at this point, they don't have to come down to it, but we know that that's a point in the chart that they could. And that's what you build your risk factor in. All right, here we go. What are you saying here? 450 votes. You got more leverage. What, 53% of you are leverage traders. Futures leverage traders. Sharon and Tracy. Why do I have to call you out like that, Tino? I work hard for this facial hair. Please. Please don't start running stuff like that. Come on, fill this poll in. I want to understand where people's heads are at. Here we go. Keep an eye on BTC. Let's just get bookmap up for a split second. Just understand where we are. Is the S&P actually doing anything right now? I just need to pull that up for a split second. See where we are with the profile. Are we still at the lows? They're not done it yet. 1,500 on the offers. They're not done yet. They're waiting for the news, ladies and gentlemen. That's the truth right there. They're waiting for the news. I'm just going to wait and keep an eye out on that. Got the S&P here. Bitcoin in the book map right there. It's trading below the VWAP. Logic would say we want to see the VWAP right there. And then, of course, we've got this EXO charts value area low for the 5-day candle. Look, the 5-day candle is trading negatively right now, but close to being positive. So just be very mindful of that. All right, here we go. We've got some activity. I'm so tempted to do it because now we've got some bids coming in right there. If you see at the top, it says 9. You've got 1,000 now, so we're starting to see an even distribution here. But because the news is coming out, I don't trust it. I've got to wait for the news because they can mark it up to sweep back down again. So you've got to be very careful with that. All right, and right, you're both. Okay, then. So 597 of you are voting. Fair enough. Listen, 2,122 of you amazing people are watching this live, but 500 of you like it, but you'll fill in the poll. Come on, man. Where's the likes, ladies and gentlemen? It does help with the algorithmic plays of YouTube. Look at that. Look at that. See? It's not trustworthy, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the activity. The market is now open. Now, this is where we understand the relationship of the bids and the offers. Bitcoin's coming down. Here we go. They could be gunning for that liquidity down there, guys. Remember, the news comes out at 3 p.m. They've got the bids coming in at the lows right there. Look, you can see the bids. stacking up inside of there. The offers coming in at minus 22%, plus 24%, plus 30%. So that's bids coming in. So they want prices lower. All right, NASDAQ is still holding out. I'm not trusting NASDAQ just yet. Ooh, 1,000 on the offer right there. On the bid side. Okay, so a lot of people just sold right there. Don't trust it. Now we've got a split. Look, 1,500 at the top there, and now we've got 1,900. So had I took the trade, I would have been in at least 10, 12 ticks profit, no problem. But the news announcements is coming out, and I don't trust it. All right, so I've got to be very careful with it, and it moves way too fast for me to start playing positions just yet. But just notice how it's just now reversing all the way back up, man. It's moving away. But the news comes out in the next 30 minutes, and I'm not convinced that this is going to be the time for it to make the reversal just yet. For a quick scalp right there, you're laughing. Here we go. What's going on here? The reversal point. Seems like the orange juice ain't kicking in too well with the dudes. Till it doesn't. Going back into that VWAP is what we want to see Bitcoin doing. But look at the offers. Look, see all these offers here? People are now coming in saying, yo, let's start selling, man. I've been buying this Bitcoin up all bloody morning. Let's start selling it. Let's get ready to start selling it. Look at the dominance of the bids and look at the dominance of the offers. Look, there's more people trying to come in and offer Bitcoin out to the upside, which is consistent with reversals. So don't go in just yet. Don't be bold and do it because there's still profiles in the book. Look, 397 and 342, and they're close towards it. That's a big area for them to transact. We're not done with this range just yet. And the news comes out in 30 minutes time, which will dictate exactly what to expect from Bitcoin. The idea is we're looking for an initial reversal because we are in the value area low. And even if Bitcoin does make a reversal, how much of the reversal is all going to be down to what people are prepared to offer out towards. Okay? Look, that is where value is. The value area high. Sorry, that's the value area high right there. Okay? That's when it starts to get a bit expensive. So right now, we are sat inside these value area lows. It's literally printing new value area lows, ladies and gentlemen. It's printing new value area lows. In the value area low. Wow. Shoot, look at that. The area of value, because my colors are all wrong. Here we go. There's the point of control. All right, and so value area high. Wow. Okay, so look, there's lots and lots of weak contracts in the book, man. Lots. The value area high up here is at 71,368. All of this from 71,368 going all the way down towards 66,693 is a value area. Right now, BTC is in value area low, and it's still gunning for it. Look, 400, 200, 216. They could still be on the book. Once they've actually swept the liquidity, start of a new 1 hour candle, then we should see Bitcoin start marking back up. Whoops. Profiles just changed, ladies and gentlemen, on the NASDAQ. That is very interesting. So now we've got two clusters of, on the S&P, two clusters of interest. So they could be gunning for more liquidity to the downside. Still 1,700 offers. That's going to go to about 2,000, I think, if the news comes out bad. I think it's going to go in. News comes in good, sorry. News comes in good. All right, then, cool. All right, let's just have a look. 746 votes. So most of you are futures leverage traders. So we don't really have that many spot traders in the chat. Tina, will you cover the news live? No, I will not be covering the news live because I really want to just try and get this information out to you so it's not too much of a long stream for you all. Any questions? Quickly. Any questions? Tina, do you think the IBT gap fill gap down to 36.50? So the gap fill that this gentleman is talking about is in relation to the... I mean, look at that. Well, there you go. It's filled it. Near enough. There's gaps galore in this ETF, and we've been marking them off, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do keep on doing it, because remember, the stock market now is absorbing the idea that the Fed isn't going to be cutting the interest rates as aggressively as they would like to, okay? So that's really important. But like I said, stock market down, oil is up. There's the first setup. That's coming nicely, hasn't it, Marcus? Mr. Crude Oil. Happy days. That projection has now pretty much come into play. This is how you know things are going to change very shortly. Oil is pulling back after being aggressively high, but the NASDAQ and the S&P are down. Usually what happens is oil is up, the stock market is down because it doesn't serve them to have a strong price in oil. But oil at $84 a barrel, it's only going to be screaming problems later on. Here we go. Bitcoin range weekly low, man. It's eating that zone. Just need to quickly go back into Exo charts. Here we are, still at the value area. Got those offers there. Look, they're moving up, 64,500. Near enough. They want to eat that liquidity, man. It'd only be fitting they do so. Bids are coming in, holding out price. 52% of you are leverage traders, fair and square. That doesn't mean I'm not going to discuss what the offers and what the guys are going to do for the holders. Because look, guys, today for the holders, just be careful. We are trading in the upper band of the 50 EMA. And that's still good because we've been here before. And it's the first time or the second time that Bitcoin has actively come into this point since the rally to the upside since February on the Sunday. Okay? So this is healthy for us, man. Look, and those of you that are trading block principles and what have you, we are good, man. We are fine. Bitcoin can come all the way down to this point. Even at that 60,000. Bitcoin is still good at this point here, in my opinion. It's still good. My days, what is this thing doing? It's still good at 57. Way good. It's still good. We have problems if Bitcoin were to actually come back down towards, I'd say, 50K. That's where we have problems. Because then the idea of it being cheaper is going to encourage more investors to load up on it even more. That means bids will be coming in, price will be going down. All right? They're going to shake out all these guys that are sat with gains and not doing nothing about it. That's the problem. We go and have a look at the liquidations for Bitcoin. You can see, look, 66, 67. We've got some guys coming in. Shorts are coming in. We've got this little pool of liquidity here with the long liquidations. They come and sweep that zone, and then they'll make the reversal. That's what we're looking for. But look at the shorts, man. People are running for shorts right here. Lots of shorts, but we got this one cluster right here that could be a bit of an interesting point for them to come into. So that'll be 65,500, and we are now 64,800, so we're surpassing that right now. So it just looks like, look, here we go. So those, look how close they got to those bids right there, and they didn't take them. Very interesting. Yeah, back to my spot, guys. Prices now, you're waiting for, today, you are waiting for the next daily candle, okay, to close. Okay? Why? Because this candle could reverse all the way back up. You want proof that this candle means business. So if tomorrow's candle does close or even starts trading lower, you pretty much got the confirmation that this 5 and 13 EMA could actually start a trend to the downside. But the trend will only start happening once the 5 and 13 EMA cross over the 50. That's going to require a lot of movement and some sideways price action from the marketplace. Because you can see, look, they've crossed over at this point here. They came down, but price stabilized and kept it, and then they continued back up, all right? So we are effectively looking for this. We're looking for this behavior to understand. So you've got the big red vector candle. Next candle confirms it. They come in, up, they come back in, can't get above the moving averages, roll back over again. Same story that's happening right here. If this candle turns into a red vector candle in 10 hours' time, that'll be more of a conviction that the start of the next daily candle will bring price back up. That's my belief. That's what I think will happen if it turns into a red vector. So that's why you've got to wait for this candle to finish today, okay? Questions. Isn't there an M formation? Yes, there is an M formation. But what you're looking for with an M formation is the proof that this M formation is going to play. So an M formation right there, drop, retrace. That's where your information is for the M. All right, so some of you might understand it to be a head and shoulders pattern, something similar to like, I mean, look, you've got a little bit of a shoulder here, you've got the head here, and you've got the neckline right there where you guys be marking it off, and then you've got the right shoulder here, so drop, come back down, and then from that logic itself, we would expect Bitcoin to come back down. That could be a valid head and shoulders pattern, but the Bitcoin could actually hold from this point. It would still be a valid M formation, but it could hold from this point and reverse and go back up. The M formation is not invalidated until they break above this point. That's the truth. And this is how you're adding structure to your trading. Okay? Cool. Any other questions? Tino, is this just a test of the 200? Test of the 200, test of the 50 EMA. It all depends on what time frame you're looking at. But Bitcoin hasn't tested the average. It hasn't gone back into a zone where they can actually get interest. Look at this candlestick formation here. They dropped it down. They come back up. All right? We're looking at that in terms of the order flow itself. And what I'm going to do for tonight, I'm going to pull up a bigger scale on the EXO charts to show you where all the orders are currently sat within. Okay, I'll try and get the 25-day profile so that you can then say as a holder and say, you know what? Right now, we're currently in the value area low on the 25-day profile. That tells me that we're at a very discounted point in Bitcoin over the last 25 days. Cool. Because we've got a new month, I've got to set it so that it factors in just the last 25 days. That's going to give you information about the idea of value and how likely bids are going to end up getting triggered to offer out and sell as prices go up. Okay? 9-inch gap, bruv, needs an 11-inch wick. Oh my days, keep your eyes off my wife's VWAP. Bruv. Tina, what would your advice be on using a depth of market platform? Also, which would you advise? I mean, look, I use this. I trade off Rhythmic. So this is one of my funded accounts. I trade off Rhythmic. We had start off with $250,000. Now we're at to 267, and I'm waiting for a withdrawal to come in. So I'm just gonna play on the accounts that I've got lower balances. But I place my trades off this. I also place my trades off this. Okay, but I take my reads off this and correlate it to the hybrid system. So I'm looking at EXO, Jigsaw. And this is for execution. So I'll open a trade inside of here. So like hypothetically, we are to open a trade. Bang, there we go. Take a trade right now, just for shits and giggles, okay? This is what it looks like. It shows me 2 contracts minus $25. We're going to wait and see if we can get a sweep up from this point because we are at the value area low. Offers are coming in at the lows. They could still keep on going down, but that's just standard because the news announcements is coming out. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for a few ticks from this range, but I'm going to be building bigger plays later on to see a reversal back up. Here we go. Look, 2,000 on the offers. I'm waiting for that to get to around 3,000 before the news does actually come into play, which will be in 20 minutes. So I'm going to be making a move. But the idea is I don't really expect it to mark up as aggressively from this point just yet. But, I mean, if they do, then I'll be getting out of that very quickly. Here we go. Might just quickly take a quick profit or just break even just to show you what it looks like. And for some reason, I'm not able to copy my trades over into the depth of market over here right now. So I'm waiting to see. Let me just try and at least get a couple of quid profit. Come on. Give me that push. 449 on the bids, on the offers. We've got some offers still coming in, so there's still pressure to market lower. I think I'll lose $100 if I'm wrong. But here we go. We're at the lows. We really need to see that. Because remember, I'm looking for longs, okay? So I'm waiting to see if I can get a little bit of a push up. Just looking at the way they're behaving on EXO charts as well. Where's NASDAQ? NASDAQ is at the daily value area low. See a bit of a reversal on NASDAQ right there. Lots of bids coming into play. Maybe it's not done just yet. They could actually keep going down because we are at the range value area low anyway. So if I were to hold on to this trade, I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't put any size just yet because my goal is to effectively put in roughly around 10 to 12 contracts. I would not do that now. No chance. Not with news coming out. But I would effectively wait and see what they're going to do. Here we go. Got a little bit of movement. Can we see the move up? Come on. Make a couple $100. Keep going. Offer out. Come on. Minus. They're pulling the offers. Okay. Keep going. Come on. Come on, S&P. Do it. Come on. Keep going. Come on. Do your pump. Is NASDAQ moving? NASDAQ's moving. NASDAQ's moving up. Okay. So focus on this. Focus on that area there. NASDAQ try and keep moving up. Yeah, it just stinks now. They're building a profile in this area. And notice now, my drawdown is not much. Oh, here we go. We've got some movement. Can we see it? Come on, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Come on, NASDAQ. Offer out. Keep going. Yep. Keep going. Keep going. Can we do it? Yippee-ki-yay. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I'll take that. Oh, all right, I closed it. $225. So that's what I do when I'm trading the depth of market, okay? That could be the point that it reverses from right now, I think. I mean, and that's just using the NASDAQ and the S&P, all right? So that's how I utilize the depth of market. I'm reading what's going on here. I'm aware of the vector candles on the hybrid system, paying attention to the NASDAQ and the S&P, and that little move there, $225. And that's how you can understand how you can take 150 trades in a day. I can just do that all day, back and forth. Don't get it twisted, man. Your win ratio could be in the ship. Like, literally, it could be bad. Like, you could have a win ratio of 44%, okay, and still make money. But it's about just capturing those little points just by understanding the nature of the offers and the bids. Why am I taking longs from these points right here? Because we've been smacked to the downside. The offers, look, 2,200. I said to you, it's going to get to around 3,000, hopefully before the news announcements. And then bang, we should be getting a reversal. But it all depends on the news itself, okay? Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that makes sense to you. I'll be checking in with you all later on. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the flavoursome bell, and I'll be speaking to you guys later. I hope it helps, all right? Please trade safely, gang. Mad love and respect. Peace.